Welcome back to the potting shed. Today I want to focus on a houseplant which often gets misunderstood and alas mistreated. The humble but elegant peace lily plant. Now I love these plants, they're widely available, they're easy to find in most houseplant shops and in general stores all over the place, and they often come looking like this with plenty of flowers, looking healthy and happy, but unfortunately before very long they often end up looking like this without the flowers and bedraggled and distinctly unhappy. So what have you got to do to keep your plant looking like this and not looking like this? Well, actually it's fairly straightforward. There is a specific but fairly simple set of care tips that a lot of people get wrong. So in this video, I want to go over the care guide for the peace lily plant and how you can keep the flowers coming back and keep your peace lily looking happy and healthy for a long time to come. All right, first things first, let's talk about watering, because I think this is probably the most common area where people make a mistake. And I've seen a lot of generic advice online when it comes to looking after peace lily, and it says water sparingly once a week or something like that. Let it dry out in between waterings and then water it again. Sort of generic houseplant watering advice, but in this case, that's wrong. It's just bad advice. The peace lily really doesn't want to dry out. You want to keep it evenly moist all the time. And this is the issue that a lot of people have. They'll water it, forget about it for a week or so, and when they come back, all the leaves are wilted and it's looking very unhappy. So what I would say is keep it well watered. If you can keep it in an outer pot like this, it's very helpful. This one's got an inner pot, as you can see, and that way you can water it liberally, and whatever it doesn't take out can drain to the bottom. And then over time, maybe the next hour or so, that water can be reabsorbed back into the pot and give it a really good drink. It's not good enough just to give it a little bit every now and again. It's not enough for these plants, and they will show you very quickly by drooping over like we have here. But the good news is, if you do have a plant that's drooping and not looking very happy, give this a good drink and it will be straight back up again and looking happy and healthy. It tells you when it needs water, and it is quite easy. This is not unrecoverable at all. Give it a good water and it's back in business. So regular watering, more than usual. I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can't really overwater this plant. You could actually submerge the whole root in water and it would be absolutely fine. So more than less. Obviously don't keep it sitting in water all the time. You're going to get stagnant water. It's not good. But don't be afraid to give it a good water, because it will prefer more than less. Okay, sunlight is next up. These plants live in the floor of the tropical rainforest. So it's high humidity, high warmth, plenty of water, but not direct light. As you can see, these are very thin leaves, and with thin leaf plants, you'll find the sun will just burn them very easily. So if you want flowers to come back, you will need a reasonable amount of light for it, but not direct sunlight. Do not put this on a windowsill that gets direct sun coming in. It will just burn up the leaves within a very short period of time and it will just not look good at all. So a bright location with indirect light. So if it's a really bright room with the sun coming in, just pull it back from the window so it doesn't hit the leaves. That's going to be fine. So a bright place is best without the direct sun. Now, probably the biggest thing I get asked about peace lily is how do I get it to reflower? In fact, I did a video on this probably 6 or 8 months ago, I think, and there's a good reason why people struggle to get these to reflower. In the wild, you would only generally get 1 or 2 flowers at any given time, but obviously when they come from growers, it's not a natural environment. When these are commercially produced, they want them to be as attractive as possible so they can sell as many as possible. So they have a lot of light, all the nutrients, and they have very false growing conditions, put it that way. So when you get it from the garden centre or the houseplant store, it's looking as good as it will ever look, because you can never really recreate the conditions it's grown in from the nursery. It is a very expensive, mass-produced commercial setup that you will never be able to reproduce. So don't worry if you haven't got 7 to 10 flowers coming out of your peace lily. It's unlikely that that will happen, so don't beat yourself up. But what you can expect is 1, 2, or maybe 3 flowers in a flowering season. So maybe once or twice a year it will reflower. The rest of the time what you can hope for is nice, healthy, glossy leaves. So to do that we need regular watering, the right amount of light, bright indirect light, and then fertilizing through the growing season from spring to autumn or fall. And I use a granulated slow release fertilizer. I like this one. It's called Incredibloom from Thompson & Morgan, but there's lots of different types of fertilizer out there. You can use a liquid feed, you can use all sorts of ones. I like the granulated feed because you can put it in at the beginning of the season just to sprinkle. It's got a measuring cup in there and you can forget about it, because every time you water, a little bit more of the nutrients will go down into the roots and feed it. So it's a set it and forget it thing. And I've got a lot of houseplants, so that really helps me to make sure that all of my houseplants get the right amount of fertilizer without having to constantly think, this one needs it every 2 weeks, this one needs it every month, this one needs it twice a year. It's a lot to keep on top of. So I figure it out at the beginning of the season and then I don't have to worry about it. That's why I like those particular ones. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to check them out. But the best thing you can do is give it the best possible environment. So relatively warm. They come from a tropical environment, so sort of 20 degrees, what's that, 70 degrees, 68, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, ideally. A warm, humid environment, if you can make that happen. Plenty of light, plenty of water, and then you're giving it the best opportunity to reflower. If you forget about it and it dries out and then you give it some more and it's not the best light, and you know, it's going to struggle, and then you're not going to be able to get the best out of your plant, which means it may or may not flower later on in the year. So if you hit those key metrics all the way along, you're giving it the best chance to get the flowers coming out when they are due to flower. So we've done watering, sunlight and feeding. Lastly, propagation. Now these plants are clump forming, so it's propagation by division. If you have a specific pot that you like and it's growing out of it and it's getting too big, then what you can do is divide the plant like I did recently with my spider plant, or you can just put it into a bigger pot and give it more space to grow even bigger if you want a bigger plant. Or if you like it in that particular spot in your house and it doesn't want to be any bigger, then you can simply take it out of the pot and then divide the root ball into as many pieces as you want, depending on what size you want. You can pull it apart carefully, or you can use a knife like my harvest knife and just slowly slice through. As long as you make sure that each clump has sufficient root, they're going to need them obviously to recover. And then as they realize they don't have as much root, they'll send more roots out and you'll have another 2 or 3 plants to put somewhere else in your house if you want to do that. It's pretty straightforward and pretty reliable. As long as you take your time, you should have no problem with propagating the peace lily. So that's pretty much it for the peace lily care guide. Keep on top of the watering, plenty of indirect sunlight, and feed it maybe once a month in the growing season, and you will get repeat flowers. But I hope you've found this care guide useful. Please give it a thumbs up if you have. Subscribe for more houseplant related videos coming along very soon. Bye for now.